6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes. Finally, the Premier League season is back, and we've got our first 3 points. Absolutely buzzing. We've got loads to go through tonight, as you can imagine, after such a strange performance, I guess, or strange refereeing performance. We're going to get into all the finer details. But before I do that, I'll just do the usual stuff and get it out of the way. I'll do it one more time later on in the show. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the show. Hit the thumbs up button. Consider becoming a member. Link is below. Super chat is in the bottom right-hand corner if you want to donate to the channel. We've got 2 amazing sponsors for the channel, Diet Crow, $40 gift cards. 2 of them are going to be given away today. I'll announce the winners on Twitter and in the community on YouTube, but link is in the description to buy their stuff. We've also got football prizes. Literally, this is just finished, but they'll have more in the future, so please keep an eye on their website, keep an eye on the company. They're an amazing company, amazing bespoke signed shirts, as you can see. Amazing stuff, and this is going to be coming soon. Lots of little things to iron out, but in January we will have a live show with our friends from over the seas and Ian, and a very special guest as well. So really looking forward to getting that done. And all the money is going to be going to the food bank and to Stanley Deaf Club, so we're raising money again. It's what we do. We'll just quickly go through the chat and then I'll bring Gary in. There's the stuff. Yes, we're really struggling with the under-21 side, but I do believe we're winning 1-0, or could be more. And it's half time. Evening, Roger. Great to see you in the chat. I know you normally miss these, so it's great to see you there. Evening, Colin. Great to see you. And Gary as well. All thoughts about Gear standing and uploading on his own. Let's not go into gear talk tonight. Let's try and stay away from it. Evening. Any info on Macklem Slayer t-shirt model? Any info on the Macklem Slayer t-shirt model? I don't know. You'd have to speak to Diacro. They're honestly, just message them. They're brilliant. The Macklem Slayer is quality t-shirt though. Evening, Gary.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Still 1-0. We're still beating the Macklems. That's the main thing.
Still beating the Macklems. That's the main thing.
Trips is playing. I don't know. I know Trips is playing. I know Target's playing.
Yeah.
A lot of
Harrison's
people have said,
playing.
Yeah, Harrison's playing. Sunshi is playing. But a lot of people are saying Trips is away. Trips is away. He's not. It's literally fitness. It's the reason why they're doing it. They want to get the fitness up. They didn't have the pre-season that most players had. Target's coming back from a lengthy hamstring injury. Trips is coming back after a holiday after the Euros, and he played a lot of the Euros as well. So that's all it is. It's just them getting minutes in their legs to get them back up to full speed again. So before we go into Newcastle stuff, I just want to put this up because I thought this was absolutely brilliant. 115 players versus 115 charges at 4 o'clock. That was obviously yesterday when Man City took on Chelsea. Brilliant little advertisement for the game. Obviously, probably in Manchester, somewhere like that, but fantastic. Brave Odds, a new sponsor, Gary.
Oh, what? Just announced
today, apparently. Yeah, happened today, apparently. I don't know too much about it.
No, first time I've heard it. Yeah.
But it just shows you there's lots. Yeah, but it just shows you there's lots of stuff going on in the background. We're still looking for sponsors. We're still, ironing out things. And this is just more revenue to go towards PSR, possibly for January now.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes I bore myself on here, but I just get the feeling the club are holding the bigger ones back for this Man City stuff. And I think but I had no idea about that today. So learn something new every day, don't I?
Sure
normally I'm on the ball now, but nah. Nah, not with that.
Gary V, you saw the new sponsor, didn't you? I think Gary did. Yeah, I was sorted on the Japanese trip bars. Oh, assets platform. There we go. I thought this was a different one to the one that was sorted in Japanese, because we did have a Japanese sponsor just for the tour.
Yeah,
but this one seems to be a long-term sponsor rather than a short-term sponsor, because it was literally out today.
Yeah, that was for the tournament. Well, the tour, as they call it.
Yeah,
But this one, don't know. Never heard of them. But
It was underground on Saturday as
anything
well.
that brings money into the club is a bonus, a big benefit and stuff like that. So you'll see more and more sponsors coming in the next year. Bigger ones as well.
Can't wait for it all. Before we go into obviously the game, there's obviously a few things that happened before the game. We did the Amanda and my dad tribute. Both say they were humbled, made them cry. We do have so much to thank for these two, don't we, really? I mean, I still think we're missing them in the ground, just their presence, the way they dealt with the players, the way they spoke to them. I know things didn't go too well in the summer with PSR, and they seemed to cop the blame because they were, the ones handling it, really. And Minter's looking fucking good for Brighton, which is even more frustrating. But we wouldn't have this Newcastle United if it wasn't for Amanda Staveley and her persistence over a year of getting the takeover done. So she deserved this. Yeah. They both did. And I still think they should have kept some sort of role within the club, personally. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I think they tried to, didn't they? But, I mean, whether that's just like rumours or not, but we've all heard different things. I heard they left because of the PR or stuff, and I've heard that the club also asked them to stay as well in some form, but they decided now was the best time to go. I think it's got something to do with, personally, I think it's got something to do with Newcastle wanting to go a bit higher. And obviously the Rubens have got the money, Piff have got the money, but they're just lagging it behind a bit, and they've got to put a percentage in of what they do. And I think that's possibly where the issues come from. And I think it's probably the time where she's thought, I need to go now. It's getting too big. And the club have made, I mean, what they're worth now, £1 billion, and they were worth 300 when they got taken over. So it's all steeping up and steeping up. And they've got to put a percentage in.
Good time for them to sell, because they've probably trebled them. I mean, it's all profit for them because they were given the shares for doing the takeover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand why they wanted to sell them.
Look, without we're not sitting here talking about the takeover and signings and this, that, and the other, because without her, this takeover doesn't happen. And she is the main instigator of it, because she turned up at a game against Liverpool at home, and the rest is history, basically. And I can't thank her enough, mate. I mean, I'm delighted that happened at the weekend. I just wish they could come back for one game and get a proper
applause.
I think it will happen, but I've got a feeling it'll be last game of the season or something. I don't think it'll be near future. But I'd like to see it. I think they both deserve it. And I can't look. Jamie Rubin's constantly talking and praising them, so I'm sure he said we'll get you back at some point. So, but no, it was a nice gesture from Wor Flags.
Maybe when the wounds aren't so fresh and open. Obviously, there was another part of the display. There was obviously the new shirt on display in the centre circle. We still have wild dreams. We do. We have. We still want to win something. We still hope we're going to win a trophy. We still dream. But as long as we keep the whole, we don't demand a team that wins, we demand a team that tries. We stay humble. Because I know there's a lot of fans who just lose their shit too easily these days. They just forget, what we're all made of. And it's frustrating.
I think every fan base has got them. I get frustrations at times because I'm easily frustrated. Not at this stage, mind. I'm not as some people who's like, oh bloody hell, sack Eddie Howe and do this and all that. I'm not like that. But I just It's one of those, and you get them at every club where people just go way, way, way over the top. And it's happened since I've been watching football. I remember when people wanted Keegan gone because we're letting too many goals in. It happens. And then look at when bless him, Bobby left. I mean, there was a lot of people wanting Bobby out when he went. And it's even legends. Yeah, even legends of the club have had moments where fans have probably went over the top, and there's numerous ones. But it is what it is, and I think it's only about 5% of the fan base, isn't it? The rest of the 95 are spot on. So it happens everywhere.
But we only hear that 5% sometimes, which is really annoying.
Yeah, because they've got a big voice and it attracts, doesn't it? That's what it is. It attracts, and negativity attracts. And the press don't help because they play on it. I mean, it's just the way it is. But I mean, see if you mention it at some point today, but I will mention an article today that later on that really got my nose up. I'll just see if you mention it. But it's one of those. It's one of those. But anyway.
Well, let's get into the Bruno drama. So we obviously had that debate: who would be captain, who wouldn't be captain. We all said Bruno would be captain, and we were right. He was, but we all thought Trips would be captain if he was playing. But now it seems the club have come out and they have announced that Bruno will be the captain for the foreseeable future, and Trips will be vice captain, I believe. So Trips playing in the under-21s is literally to get minutes and get him back on the pitch. But Bruno, well deserved. Is he the right man, or would you rather have liked to have seen Shaw or Pope maybe? So you keep Bruno being Bruno, or because some people say the captaincy might take away a little bit of that energy out of him and anger out of him that he has. But that could be a good thing at times, could be a bad thing. But it seemed to work on Saturday.
It's one of those. Look, I don't think anybody, 100% of the fan base, are going to agree on a captain. There was people who didn't want Shearer as captain and stuff like that. For me, it's 100% the right choice. That's my opinion. I'm delighted Bruno's been given the armband. Possibly he's been given it because he was one of the players linked away, and they just want to show him what he means and stuff like that. That could possibly have been it. But there's nobody. There's nobody. He's right at the top for passion for that football club. Yeah. And you need a passionate man as your captain. You need somebody who stands out when he's standing at the front of the tunnel. That's what I've said time and again. Big players, they're tracked worldwide. And when you're seeing every captain of the big teams is a big standout player. And Bruno's typifies that. And I think it's a brilliant choice. I thought he was... People going on about his temperament and stuff like that, it might take it out of him. At times, Bruno's temperament was a bit of an issue last season, and I thought he was lucky to get away with a few little things. Maybe this will make him get rid of some of that. I don't think it'll change his game, personally.
No, I don't think it.
I can't see it. But I think a few people pointed out at the weekend that they thought he didn't go to the referee enough, so maybe he needs to do a bit more, because I didn't notice it, obviously, because I wasn't at the game. But maybe, but that'll come with experience. As for Trippier as vice captain, yeah, I mean, it's a bizarre one to me, because Trippier's clearly agreed to this, and the whole club have agreed to this. The players have agreed to this, but find it a bit weird how Trippier's just suddenly said, "Oh, I'm fine. I'll not be captain," and that doesn't. I get Lascelles. I really do get Lascelles. He's got an injury, this, that, and that. But Trippier, to me, I don't know. I agree with you. I think he's playing tonight because of match fitness, 100%. But something in the back of my mind's thinking, something, I don't know. It seems like they've got something lined up for the future here more than. That's what I think anyway. But I'm not saying he's leaving this summer. It could be January or next summer. But it's clearly they're planning for the future.
Yeah. But what you got to remember as well is that we have leaders all over the pitch, don't we? Dan Burn was on the pitch. He could easily be captain.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
I think I think they've probably also picked this. And look, Dan Burn is not stupid, right? And Healer sat there, he's a Geordie himself, and Healer sat there and went, look, the crowd will want Bruno, right?
Yeah.
And they'll have used the crowd as well. And it's, if you give Dan Burn the armband, suddenly Dan Burn's having a good time at the minute, and he's probably thinking, look, if I get the captain's armband, I'm going to get the negativity. People coming out going, why is Dan Burn captain? He's going to play every game. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it's the right choice. I think the players have made the right choice. And well, put it this way, he's not getting anywhere now, is he?
No, I said that. Martin messaged me and said, Man City have apparently contacted Newcastle and said that they've dropped all interest in Bruno. I said, man, you weren't getting him anyway.
No, I wouldn't. Do you know what it is? I mean, out of all the players linked, the big three, as you call them in our football club, he's the one out of the three who continuously comes out and says, I want to be a legend at this football club.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to put my name on the window. I want to be this. I want to be that. He's the only one who comes out and says it. And I'm not saying Isak and Gordon don't want to be that. It's just he's mouthy about how much he wants to do it. And I think Bruno is very happy here. I think his family are happy here. I think his kids are happy here. I think his dad's happy here. And I think sometimes it's not just the club you're at, it's your family life as well. And if your family are happy, it's a massive thing for players. It really is. So, best choice for me.
I agree.
That's why I've got me mug out. Bruno mug.
Love it. Right, let's get into the action. Basically, personally, I think we were shocking to start with. First 5 minutes, we didn't look too bad. We looked like we were trying to do the high press and it was going to work, but then Southampton seemed to take over. And we were very lucky not to be behind had it been for an offside. I mean, it was a great defensive line because they let the small bone, what a name, by the way.
Small bone.
Small bone. He drifted. It's a great name. He drifted 2 yards offside when he put the ball into an open goal 2 yards out. But it was great work down the right where Lewis Hull seemed to have a bit of an issue. Obviously, he got a yellow card as well for dragging a player back. Everyone's like, that's not a yellow. It's just like, well, it is because the player's gone past him. He's running into a dangerous area and he's pulled him back. So he's always going to get a yellow card for that sort of thing. And then like, oh, well, what about what happens in the centre of the pitch? You don't get a yellow card. Well, you don't because it's not a dangerous situation at that point. Unless they're running through on goal and there's nobody else left to tackle. So I agree with the yellow card. I thought Southampton were fantastic in the first 20 minutes and we were lucky not to be behind. And again, if it wasn't for a strong defensive line, we would have been behind, wouldn't we?
I remember I said on Saturday morning, I went like this, I went, Newcastle are going to come out like a steam train here. Because you remember the Girona game and I thought they are going to come out. The press will be back, they'll be up for it, there'll be this, there'll be that. And the complete opposite happened. They came out like snails. And I thought they were slow on the ball. There was times where they kept a hold of the ball, and it was a lot of them, where they kept a hold of it for far too long, and Southampton were taking the ball off them. And I'm thinking, will you quicken it up a bit? Like they need a rocket up their arse, these here at the minute. And I just thought it was a very, very slow start, and you could see Eddie Howe was frustrated at the side because within 10 minutes he had the book out, and he was going like that in his shoulders, and you could tell Eddie's looking, going, right, this hasn't gone to plan. Seriously, what he's doing. And I don't know, it was a bit of a sluggish start for me.
I thought the first 5 minutes we
high
seemed to look all right. The first 5 minutes we were doing the press, and it looked like it was going to work all right. But then as soon as Southampton got past it once, because I think we tried it 3 times and it seemed to work.
Yeah.
And then they got through it once, and then suddenly we were all thinking, oh, we're on the back foot again. And we stayed on the back foot.
Well, there was an issue in the first 15 minutes where I saw that wide open gap in the middle of the park again. And I thought, here we go again. You know what it is? And I'm thinking, for God's sake, man, we're not sorted this crap out yet. And it's like...
Joe Linton.
But it was happening in the first 15 minutes again, where they were just... You know what the problem is with it? They go forward and then they leave a gap. The 3 of them go forward and then there's a massive gap. And it's... But I mean, you probably got to look. I expected Newcastle to win comfortably the game, but you've got to praise Southampton a bit because they did their tactics, especially in the first 20 minutes, were good, I thought. And everything they did was fast, pacey. But to be honest, I think it's because Newcastle started so slow as to why Southampton were like that. And you're right. I thought at some point we could have easily went 1-0 down in the first 25 minutes, quite easily. And
I think what actually contributed to Southampton's possession play was how Kyle Walker-Peters played.
yes,
It reminded me of how Pep does things, but he does it with Walker on the other side. Because Walker-Peters found himself in the middle of the pitch at left back, but he found himself in the middle as a 6 or as an 8. A lot of the game, I thought he was brilliant. Especially the first 20 minutes.
I thought it wasn't just him as well. I'm not even going to pronounce his name, the right back, who they took up for time. He caused Hull a lot of problems. And
quick.
I think it's Sugawara or something like that. I can't remember. But
I know who you mean.
Their fullbacks were causing us problems. And like you said, Kyle Walker-Peters, I was looking and I'm going, I didn't think he was this good. You know what? He seems to have been going for years. And but it was, I
said
think
we should sign him a while back. I said we should have a go at getting him, but
I think I just think it was a slow start from Newcastle. I really do, and it was a bizarre start. I mean, we've done it a couple of times where last season, but with it being the first home game of the season, I expected a lot more urgency in the first 10 minutes. I really do. But like Girona when they did with Girona, football's a funny game. It really is. You can expect one. What'll happen is in the season, we'll expect, that's Arsenal at home, we'll expect to friggin' keep it tight for 20 minutes and we'll be 2-0 up in the first 10 because football's a funny game. Honestly, it really is. It doesn't go the way you think it goes.
According to the formation, they were playing a 3-5-2, but it didn't feel like a 3-5-2 when I was watching.
No, it didn't.
But Sugawara was definitely the one on the right who was causing a lot of problems down our left side.
I was delighted to see him go off at half time, and it was. I don't know, but it's one of those, isn't it? I'm sure, like I said, Eddie had his clipboard out and he saw the problem straight away, so he wasn't happy.
Nope. And then this happened, so complete off the ball. There was a free kick given in midfield. The ball ended up coming to Shaw while we were waiting for it to be sorted out. Brendan Diaz decided to go in and shoulder barge him for no apparent reason into his back. Shaw took a little bit of a disliking to what Brendan Diaz did, went over to confront him, put his head in, but both players did, moved the head forward. But for some reason, VAR decided that Shaw had been the enforcer and head-butted Diaz. So he got sent off. I mean, even on Ref Watch on Sky, the referee, David Gallagher, isn't it, who's in the studio, he gave the reason why he was sent off. And then he got ridiculed by, who's the ex-Blackburn player who's on the panels? Is it Stephen Walker? Or something like that? Stephen Warnock, Yeah, Warnock. He just went, it was absolutely disgraceful from Diaz, the way that he went down and he was cheated and all this sort of stuff. So at least, because normally people would be like on, other team sides compared to us, but it actually showed that everyone saw what they saw and they're actually calling it out for what it is. Diaz basically bought that red card, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, put it this way, he's not the only person that called it out. A certain manager who used to manage us a few years ago called it out as well. And basically saying that it should be reversed. Shaw should get the yellow card and he should be sent off because there's no game for cheating. And
exactly.
A few referees have said at the date, look, I stand by this. They both went head to head. I've watched it time and time and time and again. They both went in head to head, and the reason Shaw got sent off was because he fell down like a child. That's in the playground. That's what happened. And he's now put a cheating bastard. I'm sorry, isn't it? Nobody's going to tell me otherwise. And
That was
do you know what it is?
Paddy Power, by the way.
Oh, no.
Southampton may have lost, but you can't deny their players give everything, especially Ben Brereton Diaz, who sacrificed his dignity for the cause.
Yeah. And if he doesn't, look, if he doesn't go down, right, they both get a yellow card. And Souness is right. He cheated. He blatantly cheated to get him sent off. And there's no need for it in the game. Look, they both went in head to head. You know me, I'm a bit old-fashioned. Roy Keane and Vieira, head to head in games. Ramos and Messi the same. Like, but going down like that, you know what it is? Honestly, I think you should get a ban, mate. He won't, but I think he should get a ban. That's my personal opinion. I think it's pure cheating. I think it's different when you're winning a foul in the middle of the park and you get fouled, but you're sort of looking for it a little way because that's you trying to win a foul, and that happens every game and it happens with every team. But this was just, look, if this was, can you imagine if this was at Old Trafford or something like that and it was a against Man United player or something like that and he got sent out? Honestly, they'd go absolutely off it. And there's a few referees come out today like saying, yeah, maybe Shaw was a bit stupid, he shouldn't have got involved, but that they're calling him a cheat and he needs dealt with. That's what they're saying. And it's I tell you what, I was a bit pissed off when I saw it. Honestly, I was a bit friggin' raging at it, but I wasn't the only one. But look, he cheated. Nobody's going to tell me otherwise. And both went in head to head to booking for both players, and he started it in the first place.
Thought you could get a red card. You can get a red card for simulation, yeah. Or we get a yellow at least for diving. We should have got a yellow for putting his head in, and then he should get another yellow for simulation. So it should be 2 yellows to make a red.
Well, sorry, I didn't mention something there. And the fact that it went to VAR and VAR kept the decision is even more friggin' ridiculous. Do you know what it is? We're already in weekend one.
VAR make the decision because the referee didn't make the decision. VAR made the decision for the referee. That's what I thought.
Well, the referee didn't even go to. Why can't the referee go and check on the pitch? Like they do it anyway. So he never went to check. He was just getting it in his head. And why didn't he go and check the screen? Honestly, we're already into weekend one and we're already getting shit decisions left, right, and centre. Not us, so not just us, it's other games as well. And it's like, Premier League's back, Harry. And but no,
the weird thing is though, the red card kind of played into our hands a little bit because we were poor. Let's face it. And it's that thing that happened last season quite a lot at St James's Park. We waited until we went a goal down before we reacted. This time we've gone down to 10 men and we've had to react again. Taking Murphy off was a shame for Murphy, but it's the right call. He brings Kraft on, puts him to right centre back, who I thought had an excellent game. We had to fight though. And I think the one thing that we have in our advantage at St James's Park, especially against the lesser teams, if it was Man City or Arsenal or Liverpool, I would be worried going down to 10 men because we would get opened up. But when we go down to 10 men against the lesser teams at St James's Park, knowing that we have to fight tooth and nail and stick together as a group of players, I was still quite quietly confident we were going to get something out of the game. Didn't think we'd win it, but I had a feeling we'll be able to battle and get something out of the game still.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I don't think Newcastle fans actually realise how important they are in that ground. Because you know what it is? I've heard manager time and again, Pep, you name it, they all come out and say, keep the Newcastle crowd quiet. Do not give them any ammunition whatsoever. And he went and did that. Eddie Howe's confirmed that he literally couldn't hear himself speaking at times in that game of the weekend because it was that loud and that intimidating, which I just bring it up. And you know what it is? I personally think the best they played was before the send-off. I completely agree with you. In the minute, They got the send off. The whole dynamic of the game changed, and the crowd changed as well. The players reacted to the crowd and everything like that, and then before you know it, the whole thing's changed because he's thought, "Oh, I've done something good here," and he's completely knackered it up for his team. And but it is what it is. I'm just glad. I'm just glad the game ended the way it did. But basically, we cheated, but the crowd got us through after that. And
the crowd were fantastic. The result was fantastic in the end, but the goal, I've got to highlight this because it was massive shithousery from Gordon. Gordon basically was on the right-hand side of the box, the little 6-yard box.
Yeah.
Where that Southampton player in the middle on the right-hand side, that's where he was when the ball went in.
Yeah.
Gordon has ran all the way around. It took me a little while to pause it right, but he's ran all the way around and he's laughing at the player sitting on the floor. Proper shithousery from him. I didn't catch it until I saw it a few times when I was watching it. He was literally going to run over to Joe Linton, but then decided to take a detour and give it to the 2 players sitting on the floor before he ran off into the corner to celebrate. I thought, go on, Gordon, get him. But the goal has come from circumstances which again Southampton will look at and say, well, we shouldn't have conceded. I mean, it was a very sloppy goal from them. The goalkeeper goes to play it out to the left back for some strange reason where Isak is. Goes straight to Isak's feet. Great touch, great awareness. Plays the perfect weighted pass to Joe Linton. It wasn't too hard, wasn't too soft. It came to him perfectly. Great control and a lovely finish in the bottom corner. And that's the Joe Linton we always wanted when he first signed, isn't it? Because, I mean, let's face it, the old Joe Linton would have fumbled that, wouldn't he? But this Joe Linton is a monster.
Yeah, this is a Eddie Howe Joe Linton, basically. I think the Joe Linton of 3 years ago panics and skies that wide or hits it over the bar. It was do you know what? To be under the pressure he was, it was a beautiful finish. No, it's a beautiful finish. The goalkeeper, horrendous. I mean, absolutely horrendous. If Dubravka had done that, I would have because Paul wouldn't do, but if Dubravka had done that, I would have been absolutely screaming. But apparently he's got a mistake in him anyway, that goalkeeper, according to Southampton fans. So,
right. I mean, Paul has made mistakes passing off on the back himself as well. It's a brain fart. But for me, he's because they do it so often in training. I don't think he's expecting Isak to be out there.
No, I don't think he is.
His left back to be there, and it's just gone straight to him.
Yep. Well, you've got to look. You've got to put your frigging head up. You can't assume.
Well, yeah. Wow.
And it's like, but there was a few funny things, mistakes from players with daft little tapped passes and everything. We did it, and it was maybe it's a beginning first game of the season thing where you're just getting into it a bit more and you make silly mistakes because it was a silly mistake. But apparently he does them. He does them a lot, that goalkeeper. So maybe we've done what maybe we've done our homework and realised that he's got a mistake in him and that maybe they've done it. But it was
can you remember when Big Joe had his shot and hit his own head? I remember that.
I remember
he was coming into the box and he fluffed it and dived forward at the same time he's hitting it, didn't he?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Steve Bruce's Joe Linton, God almighty. But no, it was an absolutely brilliant finish and his celebration was just as good. Absolutely full of passion.
So last season was very difficult for me with injuries. I had a great holiday and I've come back fresh. Damn right he has. I worked hard in pre-season and I'm ready and I'm very happy to get the goal and help the team get 3 points. Not only that, I mean, that's what it was like. There's some great pictures going around, obviously.
Oh, there's some absolute cork of the last couple of days. There's been some cork. But no, to go 1-0 up at half time after that first half, you couldn't really ask for more than that because it had been a bit of a disaster first half.
When we got the goal, and we were 1-0 up. I was sitting confidently thinking we're going to get a point out of this game, and that wouldn't be such a bad result going down to 10 men. We obviously got all 3, which is a hell of a lot better. There's a couple of incidences in the second half we'll talk about. So Armstrong nearly punished us with that. Everyone was saying that he mishit it. I thought that was a great finish from Armstrong, and if it wasn't for Lewis Hall reading the game so well and coming around and getting the ball off the line, that was a perfectly executed goal, to be honest with you. I thought Hall was excellent to read it. And then there was a great save from Nick Pope as well, one-handed, that he tipped over the bar. There was an amazing last-ditch block when Diaz almost scored. He should have scored a header in the first half, shouldn't he, that he missed as well.
Yeah.
So Southampton had their chances, and if it wasn't for us putting everything on the line, and I mean everything. That run from Joe Linton in the first half, particular, when he ran from Southampton box all the way back to our box to dispossess a forward, running past 2 of our own players as well. We wouldn't have got the 3 points yesterday, and that just shows you how committed the whole team was to defend a 1-0 lead, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, I think, Hall didn't have his best game for me at the weekend, but that clearance off the line was absolutely brilliant. And for a young lad, he's got the anticipation of like something could dangerous happen here, and it was a brilliant clearance. But the back line all game, especially when the man went down to 10 men, they threw their self at everything. All 4 of them did. Tino did it numerous times. Dan Burn, it was just. And do you know what it is? It's like that's what. I'm not saying we're going to do it this season, but that's what champions do. It doesn't matter whether you're home to Southampton or home to Arsenal. They do that, and that's how they win leagues. Right at the end of the season, we could look back on this game and go, "Bloody hell! What a massive game that was against Southampton at home." And a lot of it's got to do with the way the players just literally threw their self at everything to stop that ball going in the back of the net. And we got lucky a little bit with a few chances, i.e. Diaz should have done better with a couple of his chances, but he didn't. So I think we deserved the luck the way we defended. And but yeah, it was just tell you what, I bet you they would have a few of them defenders would have been a bit tired at the end of the game, the way they were flinging themselves around, like, because I tell you, it was
tired. They'll be black and blue, I think, most of them. I'll tell you one thing I noticed as well. Obviously, Kraft was brilliant when he came on. Kelly looked quite assured when he came on as well, didn't he? Yeah,
very solid. He clearly brought him on because he knows Kelly's got a bag full of experience as well. And I think I say this time and again, look, everybody knows I love Lewis Hall. I think he's going to be an absolute star. But it was the right decision to take Hall off for Kelly. 1, he had a booking, and 2, it's just a couple of moments where Hall was getting beat. And I think it was a game for experience in that second half, and the experienced players stood up massively. And Kelly did. Kraft, you're right, Kraft came in and did absolutely nothing wrong. For him to come
I said this, and you all criticise me. I said we are not desperate for a right centre-back, and the reason being is Kraft will do a job if needed. So we're not 100% desperate to sign a right centre-back, but we would like one, because Kraft isn't the answer full term, going forward. But Kraft stepping in when he needs to is actually better than what a lot of people think. When it comes to the defensive side of things, yes, when Shaw is missing, we miss that range of passing. Don't get me wrong. When Byrne and Kraft were playing as centre-backs at the end of last season, things slowed down a little bit when we were, trying to win a game and push forward, because the passing wasn't as crisp and as fast as it could be. But Kraft coming on with 10 men and defending and throwing himself into things is actually not a bad choice. No,
it's not. And I think people just look and go, yeah, it's because he's not a big name, and he's been as they call it. Do you know what it is? Our class craft is he's like a Aaron Hughes. He's like an Aaron Hughes. You're never going to have him on the back of your shirt. Your kids are never going to talk about him. But he's going to come in and do a job. And he's going to do his job quietly, and he's going to do his job effectively. Personally, I think probably the reason they're all looking for a right centre-back, I think you're right. I think he can come in and do a job. And I didn't care what anybody says. Byrne and Kelly can play at centre-back together. I'm not one who says, you've got two left-footed players. You can't do that. Plenty of teams have done it over the years. Got two right-footed players. I'm not one of those. If they need to do it for a couple of games, there'll be no issue. I think personally, because they want a right centre-back, because I think he is Shaw's replacement. Not this season. I think it's next. And I think that's probably why they're looking now, because they want to get him in, settled, and have a settled back line going into next season. And I don't think they're desperate, but I think that's what they're doing it for.
Well, it's definitely for the future going on. It's trying to get somebody in and getting them settled for when Shaw retires or moves on. He's got a job outside of football, and that this is definitely as far as Maguire's last season. So
it'd be interesting to see if we would be so active for a defender if Sven Botman wasn't injured or Lascelles weren't injured. Oh, please, no. Anyway, that's something else.
Let's just quickly put this to bed, right? Just so everyone's aware, Liverpool don't want 45 million for Gomez. They're willing to sell Gomez to Newcastle for 35 million. So then they can go and buy gear from Crystal Palace for 70 million and outbid us. So they've given us an option of getting a centre-back cheaper. Obviously, not the quality's not there on there, but Liverpool are not asking for that. They're asking for 35 million from us, so they can then go and steal gear from Crystal Palace. But that's all I'm going to talk about that tonight, because I haven't had it fully confirmed, but that's what we're being told. Let's get back to the football.
I was just basically, like I said, I don't think that it's desperation for a defender. But I think if Botman had been fit, I think they wouldn't have been as active for a defender. But it's clearly, I think it's Shaw's replacement. I think they want him in early. And sometimes it happens in football. You might not have a target, and then a target becomes available that you want earlier than normal, and you go for it. Lewis Hall was clearly one of those. They clearly didn't want to buy Lewis Hall, but he became available and they had to go for it. And sometimes that happens. And a target comes up, and there you go. He's at the club. So clearly, I know we're not talking about Mark Ehe, but clearly he's became available, surprisingly, and that's why they've made the move. And there you go.
There's other rumours I've heard on Gay very quickly is that apparently Gomez is actually a target of Villa. Villa are actually trying to get Gomez from Liverpool. So we're still very highly in for gear as well. So, Armstrong was brilliant at the end of the match saying that they were animals. He said it twice. He's obviously a Geordie. He's obviously happy that Newcastle won. Deep down, he wouldn't show that in his interview. I thought he spoke very well. And I thought he was... what he said is what he said. I think Tonali will play against Forest, Mick. Why not? It's a midweek game. Might as well change it up. He's available again. He'll be itching to get on that pitch. Gordon didn't have his best game, but again, very hard to have your best game when the team goes down to 10 men and you're doing a lot of, tracking back, defensive work. But I thought what he did at times where I think Isak struggles a little bit is when the ball goes long, he fights for it more than anyone. And he makes those runs and he just keeps on going with that ball, he wins more free kicks than anyone. He's trying to do the dirty arts of the game when we're down to 10 men. And I thought he did that well. But with the 22 minutes when we had 11 men, it wasn't particularly Gordon's best game, was it? But again, it's hangover from sitting on the bench in the Euros and only getting 1 minute and then not having much of a pre-season, isn't it, really? It's going to happen.
100%. It's like, look, when Gordon came off that pitch, he looked exhausted. And the reason he's exhausted is because some pillock decided to take him to the Euros. He didn't get a pre-season because of that. Gave him 2 minutes of football, and Gordon's had 45 minutes in about 9 weeks. And that's why he was blown out his arse after 60 minutes. And that's why he was quieter than normal, because he's clearly not 100% match fit. And the plan wouldn't have been to do what he had to do because they said enough at the weekend. But I 100% agree that basically I was getting a little bit frustrated with our forward line at the weekend because I knew we weren't going to get much because we're down to 10. But when we did get the ball and we were playing it up, I was waiting for these two to be more active, especially when Barnes came on as well. Because when you need your backs to the wall, you need your strikers to do something. They need to win every opportunity they get. And look,
Isak's
that'll be the quietest.
That's the thing.
No,
he's not.
That'll be the quietest game.
Lad.
Yeah,
So maybe,
yeah, Osula. He could have. You know what it is? I think Osula would have been more useful to bring on than Parvy Bond. The more I think about it now, because he would have ran and he would have been a pain in the arse. Whereas that's not Harvey Barnes' game. Harvey Barnes doesn't beat many people. This kid would have run around like a lunatic. And
putting two strikers on probably not what you want with 10 men, though, is it? I understand Barnes for Gordon because it was like for like the defensive side of things. Maybe taking Isak off, but you still wanted that quality on the pitch just in case a chance came.
Yeah.
And a chance nearly did come, didn't it?
Yeah, if I remember right. I'm trying to remember which one. Because we didn't have many.
On the left-hand side. Yeah, no, we didn't. It was Isak on the left-hand side, and Barnes made the run through the middle, and he played the ball perfectly, the Barnes, but he miscontrolled it. And had he controlled it, he would have been one with the keeper.
Yeah, Barnes miscontrolled it, didn't he?
Yeah. Seal it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, put it this way, I don't think Gordon miscontrols that. That's a different. And I remember even the commentators got a bit frustrated at that as well, going, "Oh, come on, man, you've got to do better." Then it's like, I think it was. Look, Isak's not going to have a quiet game. And I thought Isak was quiet. I thought he did his best at what he could do. But I thought he was quiet. He'll not have a quieter game than that. That'll be the quietest one he has all season.
I captained him as well, thinking he was going to score a hat-trick.
Yeah, so did I. I did exactly the same thing. He's been one of the most used players in the fantasy league this weekend. I think 75% of people had him in their team.
Really?
And he had his quietest game you could possibly think. And
he got an assist, so he still gets points for that, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he gets points for an assist. But he is. But look at Gordon. Gordon just needs to get his match fitness up because at times Gordon looked a bit like when we first got Gordon here, like a little bit lacking that little bit of sharpness. But it's understandable after what he's been through the last 2 months. And I just wish now that if Southgate had just took Grealish and Rashford and Gordon could have had a full season was. And it's but it is what it is. It's done now. So I think you'll probably see the best of Gordon probably mid-September, I would have thought. That's when he'll start getting back up to match fitness. I mean, I personally think I would definitely play Gordon at Forest. I think he needs match sharpness. And
I
don't think he'll start. I'm not sure he'll start at the weekend. I know this is a different subject. I'm not sure he'll start. I'm not sure he'll start at the weekend, Gordon. I think he may put Barnes in. Just my opinion, but see.
I think he started against Bournemouth and puts him on the bench against Forest.
Sorry.
Personally, but I can see why you would want to do it because Barnes is a bit much sharper. You could tell that when he came on, he looked much fitter. So you never know. What's the transfer news then? But there isn't any transfer news, guys. We're not talking about transfers tonight. Thursday, I'm doing the transfer show. So tune in then. There's not a lot happening, I promise you. But yeah, it's a well thought point. I thought my man of the match was Joe Linton. I know it could be easily Dan Burn as well and the rest of the team. They all defended brilliantly, but Joe Linton's goal and his lung-busting run from Southampton box back to our box to stop an attack, and then just everything else he did in the game, he was absolutely superb. I noticed the person who comes into the chat and says that Joe Linton is just as good as Sean Longstaff has not turned up today. I wonder why. Because Joe Linton was a monster. He was definitely my man in the match. A few people have said Burn, and I understand why. But who was your man in the match, guys?
Bruno had a good game. Burn was solid. I thought Sean Longstaff had a good game.
He did.
But
That tackle on Brendan Diaz was brilliant as well, wasn't it?
well, I'll tell you what, that tackle lifted the whole crowd, and that was a massive moment. And he did that because he's a Geordie and he's annoyed. That's why he did that. And
how often do you ever see Sean Longstaff put a slide tackle in?
not like that. He does tackle, but that was ferocious. That was like, you pissed me off big time.
Game now, though, don't we?
So he has got it in his arsenal, and he needs to do.
Yeah.
But without a doubt, if Joe Linton is not on that pitch, we do not win that game. And I know it's no cliche because he got the goal. And I'm not, look, forget about the goal, just say Bruno scored the goal. We do not win that game if Joe Linton is not on the pitch. He was an absolute monster. And not just his goal, he's defending, he's tracking back, he's powering forward. How many times did he head balls away in the box?
Yeah.
And it was just, you know what it is? He's the most underrated midfielder in the Premier League.
Probably the best midfielders in the Premier League in his position as well.
Oh, well, you name it. He gets in. Look, Liverpool are desperate for a CDM. He walks into their side, right? He walks into Chelsea. He walks into Arsenal because Arsenal have got Jorginho. He walks past him. He's just.
Man City is the only team he doesn't get into, really.
Well,
or you'd have to fight for his place to get into a Man City team.
But you know, Pep would definitely bring him on and consider him because Phillips, he tried his best with Phillips.
He's gone to Ipswich, hasn't he?
Yes, he's gone on loan. But Joe Linton, for me, he was just unbelievable. And I think it's going to be a very, very, very good season for that man. Just hopefully he stays fit because he does break down the odd time. So hopefully he stays fit.
Eddie, I wasn't at the game, mate. I was in bed. I was on night shift. I watched it on my phone in bed. Nightmare. I only got to see 40 minutes of the game because of my stream kept on jumping out.
Well, the highlight for me.
A 1-0 win against Southampton at St James's Park is definitely nowhere near in the top 50 of best games I've seen at St James's Park. Anyway, if I was there. Go on, Gary.
No, I was going to say the highlight for me was when I was out and I got a message at 2:15 from Mauro going, help, what do I do again? How do I get on?
I told him, I said, I've set my alarm for 10 to 3 in the afternoon so I can get out of bed and try and watch the game. I'm going to be knackered. And his messages at 2 o'clock, are you up?
Yeah.
Look
well, he was panicking at 2:20.
And everything. Yeah.
That was the highlight for me.
Apparently, Ashworth didn't want to give Joe Linton a new contract.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't think he was worth the money. So the minute Ashworth pissed off, Staveley gave him the contract. I think that's a big reason why Bruno's still here as well. When Joe signed that contract, I think that's a huge reason.
I mean, them two in midfield together are amazing, aren't they?
Oh, they're just, you know what it is? It's. I know I might be being harsh on people, and people keep telling me that Tonali, Joe Linton, and Bruno didn't really play well together. And that bloody hell, man, Christ!
Never got the chance.
They only played a few games. You know what I mean? It's like I cannot wait to see these three together. Honestly, I cannot. This is nothing against Willock or Longstaff. These three are going to cause problems next season, and Joe Linton just gets better and better and better for me. I've lost. Look, I'll admit, I'll hold my hands up. I was one of those who wanted Joe Linton gone a few years ago. I thought he was absolutely shit. And there was a lot of people out there who said, no, he's a good player, man. I'm going to give away. Couldn't hit a Bondo. And then Eddie Howe comes in. He's not a striker, and he's a flaming central midfielder. And Joe Linton now is one of my favourite players by an absolute mile. He's just a fantastic footballer.
Right. The pitch is back.
Oh, yeah, that's pissed a few people off this week, isn't it?
Oh,
this week,
of course it has.
Oh, yeah, that's why they do it. That's why they do it. Because it pays the whole country off.
However, the stats really do show the telling of the game when it came to that red card. But for Southampton to have 19 shots and only 5 on target, it shows you how good our defence was, because they put everything into blocking those shots. Pope only had to make one world-class save. Everything else was straight at him, comfortable. Obviously, the one off the line beat Pope, but didn't beat Lewis Hall. So massive, massive credit to everyone in the black and white shirt. I'm going to ask you about Southampton quickly. We've got 5 minutes left. Do you think Southampton have got enough to stay up? I mean, I put them down as a team that should go down. I've sort of changed my mind a little bit after seeing them play, because if they carry on playing like that and then cut out the mistakes and they play like that at home and become a bit more ruthless, I think they've got a slim chance of staying up now.
You know what would worry me if I was a Southampton fan is all I've heard this weekend is Southampton should have won the game, we played well, blah, blah, blah. Newcastle played poor. They were down to 10 men for 70 minutes and you still got beat. Now, that would be a concern for me.
It's definitely a concern, because you've got to be ruthless, which they weren't. But it's the first game of the season, just going off their performance and how they played. You know, when you think of the likes of Everton looked terrible.
Yeah.
There's a few transfers going on that are going to put a few clubs at risk as well, potentially. Do you think out of the promoted teams, they've obviously probably give the best account of themselves, I would say?
Yeah, I think they've got the
Leicester
best. I think Ipswich tried, right? Ipswich tried. I've got Leicester on the night, and I think it's still 1-0 to Tottenham.
Pedro Porro.
I think personally.
He's in my fantasy team, Pedro Porro.
Personally, I think they've got the best chance of the three, but it's still the Premier League, and Everton looked dreadful, but they always managed to find a way to stay up. And I don't know yet. I think they've got a chance. I think they've got a good chance, as big a chance as the two that have come up. And then they've got some decent players. I think they're getting a new lad called Fernandez, who I think is a good player. But it's still one of those for me. They'll be at the bottom, near the bottom. And if they do stay up, because they finish 17th.
If you look at their attacking line and where the goals are coming from with Brendan Diaz and Armstrong, that would worry me. If they've got themselves a goal scorer who can get 10 to 15 goals, I think the way they play football and create chances, they've got a good chance of staying up. But they need to put chances away.
You can't miss chances. I like their fullbacks. If that keeper's got a mistake in him, get rid of him up straight away, because he's already cost you a game. I don't think they've got enough up front. I think they've got Flynn Downs in the middle, who look okay. I'm not even going to pronounce the other name. What was he called? Big Bone or Stone Bone? No, Stone Bone, a Big Bone, a Small Bone, that's him. But I don't know. I think they're in for a long, long, hard season. But I wouldn't be surprised if they finish 17th or 16th. Because at some point, I don't think Everton will go, but at some point, their luck is going to go at some point, because you can't keep doing what they're doing. And I thought Brentford would struggle this season, but they managed to get a good victory at the weekend. So it just shows you that, look, Southampton for me, have they got a Mbeumo? Have they got like Bournemouth have got the new lad that just bought for £40 million? Have they got a player like that who can literally win points for them? And that's what you need at the bottom. You need a star who can win you points out of nothing. And Southampton showed at the weekend that they haven't got one of them. And I think they've got some decent players, but we'll see. I think it's too early, but I think they've got a chance out, the best out of the three.
Roger got into a free seat, Jammy Gate. If City are relegated over 115 charges, should only be 2 that go down. They're not going to get relegated, guys.
No, they won't. They're too big. They can't do. They'll
115 charges up to 130 charges. When all of them are like literally free charges, there was loads of sub quotes. It's a nightmare. Just honestly, don't pin your hopes on City getting relegated or being charged. As far as I'm aware, from the City camp, they're actually quite, hopeful things are going to go their way. So far.
We need City to actually win this. It benefits us as City win this. Yeah, we do. Definitely. It benefits us. It doesn't benefit the cartel, but we will massively. This is why we're probably in the background backing City, because we need them to win. And look, if they possibly had, I'm not an expert on it, whether they've cheated or not. I've got no idea. But they're dominating the league at the minute. But we can get better if they win this. If they win this sponsorship stuff and all that, we can get better sponsors. And
more money.
We need them to
players.
We need them to do it.
Last little talking point, Nick Pope. Obviously, I'm the first one to hold my hand up. I did criticise him for his kicking ability, playing out from the back. But my God, when he's needed, that save he pulled off with his one hand on the effort outside the box, that was flying in the top corner. Dubs isn't saving that. The new keeper isn't saving that. Nick Pope is, though. So I'm kind of now in the corner of, we don't need a new goalkeeper. Not until this man wants to retire. So
with the only, obviously, I'm not sure I have more backups. I'm still not convinced if he does pick an injury up. I don't think any of them are good enough to come in and do a job.
I agree with that.
You can't deny that he isn't. Look, he's one of the top 5 goalkeepers in the league. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But it is what it is. But
I've backed him to be Golden Glove this season.
I wouldn't be surprised. Edison made a few dodgy decisions yesterday in Man City's game. I don't think his head's on. Alisson doesn't seem to. I think he could be away next season because they're already looking at his replacement. So he's got a great chance this year. Absolutely.
Arsenal keeper is it Reina? Is it Reina who's in goal for Arsenal?
Yeah, I mean Chelsea.
He's my biggest worry.
Yeah, Chelsea's keeper shit. Obviously Martinez at Aston Villa, he's probably up there. But I think he's got a good job.
Villa aren't going to keep the clean sheets out of that. I think it's between Pope and Reina, to be honest with you.
David Reina.
Yeah. It was rumoured this week, I think, Gary, but I'm holding my breath. What's that one? I missed that. Thumbs up anyway. Right, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button if you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget there's a membership option. It really helps us to keep the channel running. Does cost money to do this as well as we try to do it. Don't forget about Diet Crow. I'm going to be doing the giveaways tonight, and I'll announce it in the community on YouTube and on Twitter who's won. But also don't forget about football prizes. They're going to get more and more of these shirts available through the season. It's cracking prizes. 325 tickets for this one. It was $3.95 a ticket, and then it'll be announced on Wednesday. I think the draw's done for it. I will be getting some money off them, but not cash. I will be getting credit to their site, and I'm going to build it up, and I'm going to try and win something to give away. So fingers crossed that will work. And then don't forget, keep this in your back of your mind when we play the double header at home, Bournemouth and Wolves, I think it is, in January. In between that, we're going to do a live show, and we're going to have an ex-NUFC footballer with us as a special guest. We don't know who it is yet. We're working on it, but we will have one. And I really can't wait to get this up and running. Thanks to Gaz, as always, for coming on. When we live next? Thursday, Transfer Show. Thursday, that's when I'll be live next. And then on Friday, Barcode Banter is back. Saturday, I'll be doing the look ahead. Sunday, Moro's doing the watch along again because I'm at work. So yeah, there's so much going on. Hit the bell button so you know when we're live. And enjoy the rest of your Monday, guys. Thanks again.